I grew up in a town so small the forest felt like it was pressing its face against every window, watching us breathe. The trees didn't just surround the place, they leaned in, close enough that at night you could hear branches scrape together like knuckles cracking. My father used to say the woods were older than the town, older than the roads, older than names. He'd stare into them like he was waiting for something to answer back. The first body was found just past Old Mill Road, where the asphalt breaks down into dirt and weeds swallow the shoulder. Mark Hensley, big guy, quiet. Everyone knew him. Everyone pretended they didn't see the way his ribs were bent outward, like something had forced its way inside his chest. The sheriff called it a bear attack. Nobody believed him. There were no paw prints, no tracks that made sense. Just long gouges in the dirt leading into the trees, deep enough that whatever made them had dragged its weight behind it. The smell lingered for days. Copper, rot, and wet fur. That night, the howling started. It wasn't a wolf. Wolves sound clean. This sounded strained, like something choking on its own lungs. It went on too long, warping as it rose and fell, until another voice answered it from deeper in the woods. Then another. Overlapping, fighting for space. I didn't sleep. 3 nights later, Lisa Monroe vanished after her shift at the diner. Her car was found on Pine Cut Trail, door open, blood smeared along the frame like she'd tried to crawl back inside. They found pieces of her scattered through the trees, not torn apart, but placed, like offerings. People stopped going out after dark. Porch lights stayed on, curtains stayed shut, guns came out of closets. The woods felt closer. I lived alone near the tree line. Cheap house, thin walls. Every night something heavy moved outside, circling slow, breathing hard enough I could hear it through the siding. Sometimes it stopped under my bedroom window and sniffed the air, long and deliberate, like it was memorizing me. The sheriff held a town meeting after the third death. No press, just us, packed into the old hall, fear sweating through our clothes. He talked about animals, about caution. Then old Mr. Calder stood up. "You should have stayed out," he said. "It always chooses when it's disturbed." Nobody asked what he meant. That night something tried to open my back door. Claws scraped slowly down the wood. Not frantic, patient. Then a voice whispered through the door. "Help me." It sounded like Mark. Then it changed, dropped into something wet and animal. The door bowed inward once before the thing outside laughed. A broken, choking sound, and moved on. In the morning, I found tracks behind my house. Not paws, not feet. Something in between, leading into the woods, leading back home. Calder came to my house the next day. I didn't hear him knock. He was just there, standing too close, eyes bloodshot and wild. "It knows you now," he said. He told me the truth the town buried decades ago. Long before the roads, before the mill, before the church, men came into the forest hunting something they didn't understand. They wounded it, chased it, cornered it. It didn't die, it changed. And when winter came, so did the hunger. The creature wasn't born, it was made. Every few generations, when the woods were cut too deep or dug too far, it came back. And when it fed enough, it passed itself on. By the full moon, people started locking themselves inside. It didn't help. The fourth body was found hanging from a tree, split open, organs gone. The fifth never got found at all. Just blood streaks leading into the dark. I started hearing footsteps inside my house at night. Slow, careful, like it was practicing being human again. Sometimes I heard my name whispered from the hallway. On the seventh night, the power went out. The moonlight was enough to see it when it stepped onto my porch. It was tall, too tall. Its legs bent wrong, joints swelling and shifting under fur stretched tight over skin. Its face was almost human, almost, with eyes that still remembered fear. Mark's fear. It smiled at me. "You smell right," it said. "Like home." The door didn't stop it. Inside, it moved with terrible patience, sniffing walls, touching furniture, like it was remembering a life it lost. When it turned toward me, its jaw unhinged wider than any mouth should. I don't remember screaming. I remember waking up in the woods. My clothes were soaked with blood that wasn't all mine. The moon was still high. My hands hurt. My jaw ached. And somewhere nearby, something howled, answered by another voice. My voice. I stumbled back toward town as dawn broke, knowing something had followed me out of those woods. Knowing it wasn't done feeding. Knowing the forest had finally taken me back. I woke up in my bathroom with my cheek pressed against cold tile and the taste of iron thick in my mouth. The mirror above the sink was cracked, a long spiderweb fracture spreading out from the center like something had struck it from the inside. I didn't remember getting home. My clothes were gone. My skin burned in places I couldn't see yet. Deep aches under the surface like bruises forming inside my bones. When I tried to stand, my legs trembled, joints stiff and sore, as if they'd been bent the wrong way and forced back. Outside, the town was too quiet. No cars, no birds, no wind. I caught my reflection in the broken mirror and felt my stomach drop. My eyes looked wrong, not the color but the way they sat in my face. Too alert, too awake, like something behind them was leaning forward, listening. Scratches covered my chest and arms, not defensive wounds, not random. Parallel lines raked across my skin in patterns that felt deliberate, marks of ownership. The smell was the worst part. I could smell everything. The damp rot of the woods, old oil from the road, distant smoke from someone's chimney. Under it all, the copper-sweet scent of blood, drifting through town like a trail. I followed it without thinking. The streets were empty as I moved, barefoot, avoiding broken glass without looking down. Every sound felt too loud. Every shadow felt alive. When I passed the old community hall, I saw the doors torn open. Wood splintered outward. Inside, there was blood on the walls. Handprints. Too large to be human. I found Calder behind the church. What was left of him? He was slumped against the stone wall, chest opened wide, ribs peeled back the same way Mark's had been. His eyes were still open, staring up at the sky, mouth frozen in something close to relief. He'd known. He'd been waiting. As I stood there, the pain hit. It started in my spine, a deep, grinding pressure, then spread outward, snapping through my shoulders and hips. I fell to my knees as my bones shifted, stretching and cracking under my skin. I could hear it happening, feel my jaw forcing itself forward, teeth loosening, gums tearing. I screamed. The sound that came out wasn't human. Fur pushed through my skin in burning waves. My hands twisted, fingers lengthening, nails splitting as claws forced their way out. My chest expanded until I thought my ribs would tear free. The world narrowed, sharpened. I could hear heartbeats now, smell fear leaking from houses like smoke. The town wasn't empty. It was hiding. The moon slipped free of the clouds, and something inside me answered it. I don't remember killing them. I remember understanding them. Doors were nothing. Walls were suggestions. I moved through the town like it was made of paper, following the panic, the running, the prayers whispered too late. Somewhere deep inside, a small human part of me begged it to stop. It laughed and fed. When morning came, I woke at the edge of the woods, naked and shaking, my mouth sore and my stomach heavy. Smoke curled up from the town below. Sirens wailed in the distance, distant and useless. There were bodies everywhere, not scattered, arranged. I stood there, knowing the truth Calder never said out loud. The woods don't punish you for what you take. They teach you how to take more. I could feel it still inside me, coiled and waiting, patient as the trees themselves. I knew I could run. I knew I could hide. But I also knew something worse. The hunger would come back, and next time, I wouldn't fight it. Because the woods don't make mistakes. They only make successors. And now when the howling starts at night, It doesn't come from the forest alone. Sometimes it comes from right behind your house. Sometimes it comes from inside you.